Welcome to High Infidelity, the best cheating videos on YouTube. If you enjoy this content, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications. Now let's get into the video.
My wife was having an affair with her father. This occurred almost a decade ago, but she may still be with him for all I know. When this occurred, I retained the services of a private investigator. The fact is, I was already aware. I simply wanted someone to reassure me that it wasn't all in my brain and that I wasn't insane. The PI felt so awful for me that he declined to charge me. Then he took me out for a drink. I wish I could express my gratitude to him for it. At the moment, it meant a great deal. I realized I've never blogged about this. That is, after all, the purpose of this subreddit, correct? You're venting. Now, this is what I feel compelled to say. It culminated in an acrimonious and sad divorce. In a nutshell, she disclosed to me long before we married that her father had abused her between the ages of 13 and 17. Her mother was more or less aware of her and treated her similarly to the other women. She allegedly told a friend once, who alerted the police, who conducted an investigation, and it was finally rejected as her wanting attention. Later, I discovered that she had informed them that she had made it all up for attention, and as a result, they dropped it. Naturally, I felt terrible for her, but was pleased she trusted me enough to confide in me. I also naturally believed that everything was behind her. Given her lack of intentions to spend time with her family, understandable. In an odd turn of events, she now desired the return of her family to her life. I was at a loss on how to handle it. A part of me realized it may be a poor idea, and another part of me understood that I was not the kind of guy to tell someone they couldn't bring their family back into their life, since I am not controlling and would not want to be. Nonetheless, it caught me off guard. When we slept over at their place for the weekend, I realized something was wrong. I had entered the basement, and her mother was seated at the kitchen table staring at the wide-open cellar door. She was so absorbed in the task at hand and on the edge of her seat. For instance, when I began speaking with her, my mother-in-law, she practically pretended that neither she nor I were there, and that all that mattered was that door. It then occurred to me, where had my wife gone? I inquired, and she said that she was downstairs with her father, never making eye contact with me and still focused on the door. I began to walk downstairs, and she warned me not to. I halted briefly for a split second, as I got this really unpleasant sensation, but then continued down to the basement. As I descended, I got a glimpse of my wife, slipping off her father's lap out of the corner of my eye. He was seated on his computer chair at the time. She was dressed in the tank top and short shorts she had worn to bed, made out of soft cotton. The style of shorts that are so short that they can be easily slipped over the leg of a pant for easy access. I believed I saw her adjust her pant leg, and he was wearing a long, extra long t-shirt that he was now covering. I was in amazement, and to be honest, I was at a loss for what to say or do at the time, since I wasn't sure if I had disrupted what I believed I had stopped. I remember her inquiring as to my whereabouts. It was early. I'm not sure what I said to her. I was having an odd out-of-body experience. She inquired as to why I had descended. Again, I'm not sure what I offered her as an explanation, but I recall not wanting to confront the problem, so I pretended to be looking for something. And I took note of 3 points. 1. They were both behaving as though they were being interrupted. Caught. 2. She seemed hot and a little short of breath. 3. One of her highs, the one over which she had secured the pant leg, was damp. She was dripping. I'm guessing she wanted me to exit the basement, as she continued to assist me in finding whatever I said I was searching for. However, it was established that whatever it was not down there. Nonetheless, she seemed to want to remain down there with him and for me to return up. I informed her that I would use the other computer. There were 2 down there, and she insisted that I return up to prepare breakfast. I ignored her and began working on the computer. For a time, she simply stood there between us, as I and her father stared wide-eyed at our monitors. When I questioned whether she was all right, she answered yes and uncomfortably stayed there for another instant or 2 before climbing back up. Needless to say, I was overcome with raw emotion, partly in denial, part deadly wrath, part self-doubt, part shattered and doing everything I could not scream. However, it was an acrimonious divorce. Story 2. My wife stopped taking her birth control without informing me. I've been married to my wife for over 9 months. We exchanged vows in December. We entered the relationship both desiring children, but we decided to wait until we purchased a house, I completed school, and we had our finances in order before attempting. Throughout our relationship, she has used the pill as her chosen form of contraception. Tonight, my wife is out to supper with her parents, while I am at the home with some friends. She had placed an order for groceries earlier today, and when they came, I naturally began putting things away. One of the things she bought was a pregnancy test, which shocked me so much that my stomach nearly dropped when I saw it. I immediately contacted her and inquired as to why she had ordered a pregnancy test. It turns out that she stopped taking her pill approximately a month ago, believing that we were ready for children. I inquired as to why she would withhold my opinion on something so monumental, to which she answered that she wished to surprise me. I informed her that there are practically 100 different surprises that I would choose at the moment, informed her that I would see her later, and hung up. Her period is coming later this week, so unless she decides to skip it, we won't know for a few days whether she's pregnant. I'm enraged. We are not now in a position to become parents. I absolutely do not want to be the mother of a baby during a pandemic. I'm not sure whether this is justified, given that we are married and both want children in the future, but I feel totally violated that she would make such a choice behind my back. We had even decided that if we were pregnant while she was on the pill, we would abort. I'm aware she'll return shortly, and to be honest, I'm not sure I want to look at her or know what to say right now. Am I justified in my outrage? What am I to do? I'm now working a full-time job and pursuing a master's degree. I actually lack the time necessary to be a good parent. Edit. She just contacted me, saying, "I'm very sorry you're behaving in this manner. You seem to be rather miserable recently, and I assumed you'd take this as good news." Update. I had determined that I needed some time to analyze and cool down after my first outburst of wrath and disbelief, so that we could be certain if she was pregnant or not. I notified my wife about the situation and went to a friend's house for a few days to sort things out. Ironically, my wife's birthday fell during the time I was away, and she has been quite irritated with me as a result of my absence. She ultimately told me this morning that she had received her period and inquired as to whether or not this meant I would be returning to my home right away. I'm still reeling from her treachery, and although we managed to avoid being shot this time, I now have so little faith in my wife that I'm not sure our marriage will be able to survive this ordeal any longer. In order to avoid my own spouse from interfering with my condoms, it would be preferable for me to be a young divorcee, rather than feeling obligated to put my condoms in a lockbox or anything similar. Even if she continues to believe in herself to be infallible, I'm not convinced that counseling would be beneficial. Nevertheless, if she sees the light and really apologizes soon, I'd be willing to pursue it just because I care about her. I believe the ball is in her court, and if she really wants to make apologies, she must take steps to show that she is honestly sorry and that she is willing to regain my trust and faith in her. My doubts about whether or not our relationship can be repaired at this point, even if she makes an effort. But maybe, with some comprehensive couples counseling, we will be able to identify exactly where our relationship went wrong and why she felt her behavior was acceptable. Thanks.